Before you start investing, you have to ask yourself, why do you want to invest? For me, that why is easy. I'd rather be an investor than a consumer. Hi, my name is Jessica. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, consider subscribing. On this channel, we talk all things money. I upload a new video every Thursday, sharing with you what I've learned on my own journey to financial independence. Before we talk about how to invest money, we should talk about why you should invest money. To me, being an investor puts you in the driver's seat. It puts you in the driver's seat of your financial health bus. It's a complete shift in mindset. As a consumer, you bring in money and you spend money. As soon as you bring it in, you spend it as a consumer on your living expenses, your needs, your home, your car, your food, and everything else, and then you spend it on your wants. You are constantly a victim of companies marketing their stuff to you. And you want the next gadget, you want the next hot thing, because you tie your worth to purchasing things. As consumers, we fall victims to the marketing and the hype of the next hot thing. And that vicious cycle never ends. We work and we buy, we work, we buy, the next thing comes out, we buy that, and the next thing comes out, we buy that. It is literally a vicious cycle that you never get out of. As an investor, on the other hand, you invest in things. You buy things that make you money. You get your money to work for you in the form of returns on investment. You buy assets that appreciate in value. Unfortunately, most people are consumers, but it's never too late to switch from consumer to investor. And we are always going to be consumers to some degree. We have to live, we have to eat, and there are things that we're going to be spending on a daily basis. There's no way around it. All of us are going to be consumer to a certain degree, but we don't have to become victims of consumption. We can consume the things that we need to consume, but switch our mindset over to an investor. To me, the simplest way to switch your mindset is just look at the things that you always purchase. Look at the brands that you really love in terms of their quality and dependability and longevity. What are some of those brands that you consume? Whether it's Starbucks, whether it's a pair of shoes, whether it's a car, or whatever that is that you buy regularly. Start looking into a possibility of investing into those brands. That's really how to start switching your mindset from a consumer to an investor. Now let's talk about how exactly to invest money. As part of your investment strategy, start by answering these three big questions for yourself. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what's my time horizon? In other words, when will I need the money that I'm investing? The second question to ask yourself is, what is my risk tolerance? That largely depends on the first question. So if you are in your, let's say, 30s or 40s or even 50s, and you've got decades before you think you will need the money, so that means you have a lot of time to invest. Your risk tolerance is higher than, let's say, if you're 60 years old and you want to retire at 65 and you've only got 5 years before you will start to need that money, before you'll need to start withdrawing from your investment. Your strategy will be slightly different. The third very important question that a lot of people overlook, as a matter of fact, financial advisors and so-called financial planners also don't really put enough value in this, is which investment will give me the maximum benefit for my situation. Remember, I didn't say return, I said benefit. Benefit means what will help you sleep better at night. An investment that's going to give you the highest return on your investment in terms of percentage points, it's not always the best investment for you if you can't sleep at night. The whole point of investing is to make your money work hard for you and to create a financial independence for yourself and for your family, a sense of security for yourself and for your family. And the whole point of all of that, to have financial independence and sense of security, is so that you can rest at night knowing that you and your family's future is covered. Now let's unpack all of this and let's talk about step by step How can you invest your money? The first step is to get a handle on your debt. If you are in debt, that's your first priority, is to get a handle on it. Take a look at how much exactly you owe. You'll be surprised at how many times people don't even know how much they owe. They say that people owe twice as much as they think that they do. So the first step is get a handle on your debt, figure out how much you owe, and set up a plan on paying your debt off. That's the first step. The second step, which you can work on simultaneously as you're paying off your debt, is to fully fund your sanity fund, or your emergency fund, as most people call it. You want to have at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses available to you in a liquid form, which is cash for most people, in a bank account. And you want to have that in case something happens, in case you lose your job, in case an emergency comes. You want to have at least 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly expenses in a bank account readily available. Then you get into actually investing your money. So that's your third step. Now you start to look at your options on how to invest your money and where to invest your money. There are 4 buckets. You've got 4 options. And a lot of times you can just start with the first one and work your way down. Or if you have an affinity towards one or the other, that's entirely up to you. But for myself, I just went from the top and worked my way down. So the first one is retirement account. You have your retirement account. You may have a retirement account through your work, and whichever country you live in, most countries offer that, and most employers offer some type of a match. So that's your first goal, is to maximize your retirement account. And if you don't have one, or if you haven't started one, start your retirement account now, because there are a lot of tax benefits in most countries to have money in your retirement account, because most governments want to encourage you, or encourage their citizens to save for their own retirement. So number one, that's your retirement account. So if you're in Canada, that's RRSP. You're in the US, 401k. Any other country, you've got some form of a retirement account. That's where you should invest your money first. Second place is another type of a tax benefit account, or a tax-friendly account, which in Canada is TFSA, where you put your money in and your money grows basically without capital gains. And any money that you invest or you have capital gains on, you don't pay taxes. And in the US, that's your IRA, Roth IRA type of account. And so that's your secondary account. So both of those you can maximize. I'm going to get into just those in a little bit, because just those 2 will set you up really, really well. Your third option then, if you've maximized all of those and you still have money that you can put towards your investment, then you open a brokerage account. And then that's your post-tax dollars you're investing in those brokerage accounts. There's no limit because you can invest as much as you want, because there's no tax benefit. And through that, you can purchase investments like individual stocks, or you want to buy mutual funds, or you want to buy index funds. Personally, I'm a big fan of index funds. So I like to buy index funds through that as well, because index funds are inexpensive. There's hardly any fees, very, very little fees. And you get excellent returns because it's really mimicking the overall stock market, and there's no active manager charging you fees. And it is pretty hands-off. So you just, make your selections, obviously, and you look at it I recommend you looking at it every 3 to 6 months at least. But for the most parts, as investments go, it's pretty hands-off. So that's through your brokerage account, you can do that. So now that's 3 vehicles we've talked about so far. The fourth one is real estate. Now, again, it depends on your goals, and it depends on your temperament. And real estate is a great investment. I'm a big fan. So those are the 4 places you can put your money in. You can, as far as the non-real estate, the first 3 that I talked about, I really encourage people to start at the top and then work their way down. Why? Because the first 2 give you a massive tax benefit. So maximize those first. It's always good to pay less taxes, because let's admit it, that's our single biggest expense, taxes. In Canada, you can pay up to 50% in taxes. And so you want to minimize the amount of taxes that you pay. So go in that order. When it comes to investing, keep it simple. Don't make it complicated for yourself. There's a lot of complex advice out there, which I think is a huge injustice, especially to people who are not into investing yet, or who don't know a lot about money and investing, because that can be really, really intimidating, and it is a shame. It does not have to be intimidating. Keep it super simple. I'm going to give you an example to illustrate this point. If you do nothing else but to do those top 2 things from that list of 4 that I just gave you, so you've got your primary retirement account, so let's say RRSP for Canada and 401k in the US. The secondary is TFSA for Canada and IRA for the US. So just the basic 2 tax-friendly accounts. If you did nothing else and you invested in those 2, you are going to be investing about $30,000 a year. For example, for Canada in 2021, RRSP limit is $27,830, meaning you can invest $27,830 in RRSP. You can put that money in RRSP, which will be tax deductible from your income. So that's a pretty good amount of money. And in 2022, that amount's going to go up pretty close to 29,000. So right now, it's about 28, right? So now you can invest that money there. The secondary account is TFSA, which you can invest $6,000 in 2021. And I believe it's the same amount for 2022 each year. So since its inception, it's been $5,000, $5,500, $6,000, around that. Now, the combination of those 2 accounts is over $33,000. And in addition, you are also allowed to make up. If you have not put money into TFSA all of those years when you were allowed to, or you didn't maximize it, you can make up for that. Same thing goes for RSP. It's called your contribution room. So you've got a certain contribution room that's there for you. You can continue to take advantage of that, and you can maximize that. If you have not done it in previous years, you can do it now. So that is a huge advantage. And now let me talk a little bit about the US. I'm going to use $60,000 income as an example. So if an average person's making $60,000 on average in the US, your employer is contributing a certain amount of money, and you are contributing a certain amount of money for your 401k. The maximum amount, if you're under 50, you're allowed to put into your 401k each year is $19,500. If you're 50 or over, that amount is actually $26,000. So let's just talk about under 50 for this example. You can put up to $19,500 towards your 401k, and then let's say your employer matches a certain amount. Let's say that's $2,400 of your employer's match. That's over $27,000. But if you are if you're 50 or over, that amount total is about $34,000. Just for the sake of this example between the 2 countries, let's just say it's $30,000. So it's a little bit more if you're 50 or over in the US, 34. In Canada, it's 33 something, regardless of how old you are, as long as you're over 18. And so let's just say, for simplicity's sake, $30,000. In these retirement accounts, you can put up to $30,000 every single year. What does this mean? If you did nothing else, if you just took advantage of these tax-friendly accounts, in one account, the first one, it's tax deferred. So you're not paying taxes until you start taking money out later in your retirement years. And in the other account, it's post-tax dollars now, but everything that's growing in there is tax-free. If you just did nothing but invested in these 2 accounts, $30,000 a year. Do you know what this means? You will be a millionaire in 16 years. If we assume 8% return on average, if you just did $30,000 every year, 8% average return, in 10 years, you'll be about $500,000, just under $500,000. And in 16 years, that will be $1 million. People think that it's so hard to make $1 million. Well, it may be hard to make $1 million, but it's not hard to invest to get $1 million. It's really simple. I know it's easier said than done for some of us, but all it takes is discipline. It takes a plan and then following that plan with discipline. This is what's called making your money work hard for you. And you don't have to stop there. If you feel like you have more than $30,000 a year to invest in, great. Then the next step you can do after you maximize these two accounts is open a brokerage account. Like I said at the beginning of the video, open a brokerage account, invest more money into your index funds or stocks or whichever way you feel like it's the best for you. Or you can invest in real estate. And that's another great way to invest your money, where you will get a rental income basically for the rest of your life, if that's what you want. Or you can invest in both. Why pick? You can invest in both. So these are the 4 ways I wanted to share with you. And if you even just focused on the top 2, that's $30,000 a year, that will make you a millionaire in 16 years. 16 years is not a very long time. And 16 years are gonna pass by whether you do something about your finances or you don't. So why not do something about it? And that's all for today. Don't forget to tell me in the comments below, where are you in your financial journey? I would love to hear from you. What do you think about these 4 ways to get to $1 million? And I would love to hear where you are. What are your goals? What are you working on? And as always, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. And I will see you in the next video.